Hello, everybody, and thanks so much for joining today's Inspire podcast. I'm excited to welcome another young partner to the Integrity family, and I'm excited for you to hear this story. There's so many different things we're going to talk about today that it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm excited to welcome Joe Miller, the founder of JST Financial, to the Integrity family. Joe has built an incredible business that he's now based in Texas, and I can't wait for us to be able to share more of your story. Joe, thanks for joining us, bud.
Pleasure to be here.
Hey, man,
Thanks for having me.
we're so excited. Now, you have an incredible background. Most of the time, I know kind of where to go on a podcast. I'm like, okay, we're going to talk about this subject, but man, you've got a lot of cool things to talk about. You started out in law enforcement, and then you were a military police officer in the Air Force, right?
Yes,
Tell us
sir.
about how'd you get into law enforcement?
By mistake? No, I joined the Air Force. You know, it's something I wanted to do. I'm third generation veteran. My grandpa was Navy, World War II. My dad was Vietnam vet, Marine, and they both told me to go in the Air Force. And so I did. And that was, I joined right after 9/11, and that was the career field that was taking people the fastest.
Yeah. Wow. So you became an MP, and then you got stationed at the North Pole, literally the North Pole. So I've never been to the North Pole, but is there Santa Claus stuff everywhere? Is it all about Christmas?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole town is candy canes. There's Santa Claus house. There's a 60-foot Santa, and all the military folks write letters back to kids as something to volunteer for.
No way.
During Christmas, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So did you do some of that?
Yeah, we volunteered. We were voluntold. There was
voluntold,
no option.
yeah. There was no voluntold's a good thing. So you've got 3 kids. You've got a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old, right? That's such a fun age. Do they still believe?
My 10-year-old is asking questions. He's like, "Come on, Dad."
So I've got an 11-year-old, and he's all in. Like, he still believes. If he doesn't, he's selling it hard, man. My 9-year-old, he's like out. He's like, Santa's not real. He's been saying that for like 2 years. Like, it's not real. The other night I was putting him in bed, and I said, "You brush your teeth?" And he's like, "No." And it's like funny, like when you're putting kids to bed. So I always tell him, I said, "You just have to brush the ones you want to keep."
Yeah.
Just brush the ones you want to keep. Like, if you don't want to keep them, then don't brush them. And I go, "Just brush the ones you want to keep, man, because otherwise the tooth fairy is going to come see you a bunch." And he goes, "Dad, the tooth fairy and Santa are not real." And I'm like,
It's a realist. I like
"Bro,
it.
like, come on, I need you to still believe." The North Pole, though, that's where you met your wife, right? So where'd you grow up?
Southern California.
You were in Southern California. You get stationed in the North Pole. Was your wife also in the military?
Yes, and she's from Long Island. So by way of Long Island, Southern California,
Right.
we met
Wow.
in Alaska.
Like, if you look at a globe, it's like way
up there.
So how did you guys meet?
She had to come through my gate. So as a cop, part of your duties are working the gate. And so let's just say she had to pull over because I had to talk to her again.
You
Yeah,
didn't.
I swear.
You didn't.
I swear.
You said literally like, "Hey, ma'am, I need you to pull over."
I did. And then
What was she like? Was she like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, it was very interesting. And then we didn't see each other again for a whole year because I had deployed. And then when I came back, we met at a going away party that I was deploying again. Because cops in the Air Force, all we did was deploy.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow. So you pulled her over. Did you ask her out then, or what? Did you,
No, I just needed to know what squadron she was with. You know, is she on base? Is she off base?
Oh my
Just
gosh.
basic stuff like
Did
that.
she know what you were doing?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I'm a cop. She has to kind of go with it.
Oh my gosh.
That's the beauty. And she was an air traffic controller, so that's like the fancier, higher echelon of enlisted, being air traffic controllers. They work with all the pilots and whatnot.
Is she still an air traffic controller?
She resigned. She's a stay-at-home mom, but she did that she did 4 years in the Air Force active duty, and then she worked at all different airports across California. So,
yeah. Now, I also understand you got married in North Pole, right?
Yes.
And Santa didn't marry you, but the pastor, you got an interesting story about the pastor.
Yeah, so we got married in First Baptist in North Pole, and the pastor is well known. You can probably look him up. He survived a grizzly bear attack.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
was he pretty torn up?
You know what? He was a lot older from when it happened, so a lot of the skin grafts, it just looked like weathered skin. So, but you could tell something happened.
Oh my gosh. There's not many people who could survive that.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Now, I know that you've got this like total service mindset, which aligns so much with what we're building here at Integrity. One of our core values is service. We talk about service all the time. Talk about that philosophy and why that means so much to you.
Sure. So, which is interesting, the core values in the Air Force is integrity first, and then service before self is number 2.
Really?
So
I never knew that.
It just kind of aligns. And then the third one is excellent in all we do. So, coming from that, it's ingrained in you. You don't really have a choice. I guess you do when you get out. But when I got into this industry, I wasn't really focused on the money. I was actually following my wife. So as air traffic controllers, you have an age limit. And so she had to get out to get picked up from the FAA, or else she would have had to stay in or not be in that crew field anymore. And so I kind of followed her out because I still didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up.
Yeah.
And so I was getting a business degree, and we had our first, and I was a stay-at-home house husband with a toddler. And so my introduction to insurance was I wasn't really enthusiastic about it, but if it gets me out of the house where I could talk to another adult, I was all about it.
Yeah. So how'd you get recruited into the industry?
Someone sold me mortgage protection.
No kidding. So somebody came to your house, sold you a policy.
Yep.
And then did they say you should think about this too?
Yep. And I was very colorful with my reply, and it was a no. It was a hard no, because I assumed law enforcement and sales were not in the same room.
Think about that for a second. I mean, let's just take a moment to process that. So I think that there is so much opportunity in this business, and there's so many people not only that need the products that we offer, but also need the opportunity that we offer too. And so I don't know who that agent was, but man, kudos to that advisor, because I mean, not only did they sell you to the policy to take care of your family, but they also got you in this industry. And since then, you've been able to help thousands and thousands of families and thousands of agents as well, man. What's it been like being in the industry, and how did you get kind of over that no to begin with? You know what?
It was very interesting, because it was a hard no when we met, and then he kind of continued to follow up with me, and then he said, "I'll buy you a drink." And I said,
"You're
sure."
Like, I just want out of the house. I'm
absolutely
tired changing diapers.
And there was a bunch of things that I was a hard no on, but I'll if you can answer these questions, I'll look at it. And I was another person who took a year to get my license. It's you can get it in a week.
Yeah.
It took me 9 months to get my license, just because I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't going to be an insurance agent. It just wasn't on my list. There's nothing wrong with it. I was a cop in the military, and I was getting a business degree, and it just wasn't something that I wanted to do per se. And once I found out that there was leads, I didn't have to sell my friends, family, and neighbors.
Yeah.
These are the things that I had assumed. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a go. And then what happened from there was I got out of the house, and I worked 2 days a week. For the first 2 years in the business, I was a part-time agent, 2 days a week, working around my wife's days off, and then raising my oldest.
Yeah.
Right.
And you started doing well.
Our first year where we got our taxes back and the 1099s, my wife actually came to me and was like, "What are you doing?" It was, "Is this legal?"
Oh my
I said,
God.
"Absolutely, it's insurance." And she's like, "That's crazy." And so then the lifestyle started increasing, and I did that for 2 years part-time before I went full-time.
Wow.
And then my wife, she resigned her job. And that's when everyone kind of was like, "What is he doing?" Because my wife made good income as an air traffic controller.
Yeah.
She was at SFO, which is in the
San
Bay.
Francisco, yeah.
Yeah, and then she's worked at LAX, she's worked at Burbank, Chino, all over Southern California.
Wow. So your wife retires. You're like, we're going all in on this. You start recruiting agents. I mean, your business is a big business. People may not realize how big it is, but I mean, this year you guys may cross $50 million in premium. I mean, you're very close, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is a big agency from that side. And so it's amazing to see how you've been able to really create this culture and really, take the experience that you've had really to the next level. Now, you were in California. Y'all decided to make a big life change during COVID and move to Texas. What was that about?
Well, that was a couple of things. So during COVID, money was great. I know that wasn't the greatest time for a lot of folks, but in our industry, you turn on the TV and the best salesmen in the world were selling insurance, right?
Yeah.
And I always look back and I say traffic was great too, because there was no one on the road. So for someone that was out and about
Right,
face to face in California during that time, it was great. I could actually get places in a timely manner. But what happened in the end of 2020 was my mom passed away.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
And so my mom and dad both lived at home with us. So we had built a in-law, or I think they're called in-laws, where,
Well, sweet.
on the house. And the only way I was able to do that or afford to do that was because of the industry. And a lot of people know my business as Team Freedom, just because I firmly believe that this industry gives you the freedom to do what it is that's important for you, right? And that may be take care of your parents. That may be spend time with your kids. That may be whatever, work to the bone. It's just whatever you want, travel. And I was able to do that. So a lot of times I tell folks that my focus was split. I was working hard, but I had both my parents were ill and at home. So my mom passed away. And so I didn't really have any connection to California. I still have family there, don't get me wrong, but I was kind of emotionally done with California. And I always joke about the only regret I have is that I didn't move to Texas sooner, because everybody had the same idea. And when I moved out here, it was like a free-for-all with moving vans and all these things. And we have friends all over the state, but we picked Hazlitt. I don't know if you know where Hazlitt is.
I do know where Hazlitt is, yeah.
So it was close enough to Fort Worth, but it was still out in the country. And when we got there, it was December, I believe. I want to say December 15th. And the moving company said, you either get your stuff delivered on this date, which was like the next day, or we don't know when we're going to get it to you. So, because we had already had a plan. We bought a new house that was maybe two or 3 years old, and we were going to get it painted and carpet, make it the new car smell, right? And we got all of our stuff delivered. It was all in boxes in the house, and we turned it over to the painters, and we went to Long Island for Christmas. And
where your wife's from, yeah.
Yes, and it was amazing, actually, in Christmas time. I had never been there during that time. And the painters and the contractor burnt the house down while we were gone. Yes.
So all your stuff's delivered. You've got the house or painting. What happened? Literally burnt the house down.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, because I don't know exactly how that would happen, but I could have saved myself a lot of money and heartache just leaving my stuff in California or selling it. So but all the stuff that I just got delivered,
Oh my gosh! So you have to start all over.
Yeah. And that was, and one of the things I think is, well, and it brought our family, some things like that, tragedies, sometimes split up families, but ours got really close.
Wow.
It actually worked out, going from Airbnb and living different places. And then Texas was like, we're not done with you. And then the freeze happened.
I remember that freeze.
So early 21, the freeze happened. And I said, one more tragedy, 3 strikes are out, we're moving to Florida. And
so a lot of people don't know this. So we had this freeze in Dallas in 21 where it just got like, sub-zero for 7 days, 5 days, something like that. And people lost power. And in Texas, you don't have the insulation you might have in northern states. And so you have pipes in the attic. It started bursting, and man, it was a mess for so many people. And so you got all of it.
Yeah,
and then you get the heat in Dallas as well. So
I don't mind the heat. I can handle the heat. And so after that happened, we found another house in Mansfield, so that's where we live now. And there's
Which is
always
south of Dallas, not too far.
Yeah,
right?
just Grand Prairie, Arlington, just south of there. And it's funny how things happen. How God works is we weren't meant to be in Hazlitt, and so we had to lose all our stuff to realize that, because the house we live in now is amazing. We never would have bought that house because it is kind of bigger than we needed. So it's kind of normal for Texas, right? But moving from California, it was way big. It has a game room and all these different things. And the thing that kind of sold it for us was after we moved in, we realized the elementary school that my kids are going to is Judy K. Miller. Our last name's Miller. The church we ended up going to is on Miller Avenue. And so all these things aligned where we have a more amazing house. We're in an area where we feel like we kind of fit in, and it all came from that fire.
Sometimes people don't realize, but it's great that in retrospect you can look back and go, when you go through really hard times, a lot of times you're just in the moment. You're like, why is this happening to me? And then when you pull back and you get to look back in the rearview mirror, or as they would say, you can look back and go, man, that happened for a reason. There was a purpose for that. And that's great that you can see that.
100%.
Now, I understand you have a family farm now as well. So you went all Texan on us.
Diesel truck. I got a big truck. And yeah, you were talking about the weather and when the weather is crazy here, we don't have that much traffic because when things get backed up, people just go on the shoulders. Just wherever they can go to get on a surface street. And so I had to buy a diesel truck because we bought a farm. I want to say it was earlier in the year, and I want to say it was like a midlife crisis. and I just turned 40, so people say, well, you're young. But I was like, my family doesn't make it past 80, so that's the middle for me, right?
Well,
so I bought a 50-acre farm in Avalon, Texas, and I have 300, 400 chickens, and we're doing it up. I'm teaching the kids hard work. And
are you getting the eggs, or what are y'all selling the eggs?
Well, I'm trying to teach my kids, entrepreneurship, and they're selling the eggs.
Because you would be. Don't they produce like 6 eggs a week? Like they take one day off, so 400 chickens. You're producing like 300 eggs a day or more, 300 something.
Well, not all of them are adults just yet.
Okay, gotcha.
Because we bought them as babies and the kids raised them. And right now we have 2 incubators in our house.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
at the farm, but at our house where the kids are looking at the process of incubating eggs. But I get about 3-4 dozen eggs a day right now.
One of my best friends, Bubba, grew up with in West Texas. He and his family got some chickens, started, kids selling the eggs. And it's amazing. I learned a lot more from him about what that process is, because it's amazing when they start producing, man, you got a lot of eggs to get rid of.
You have to figure out, hey, how many things can I put these eggs into? You got to start doing it. And everyone in our neighborhood in Mansfield already knows. So they're like, hey, load us up.
Let me know,
so the kids are, they're working. I like it. They're
awesome.
teaching them responsibility.
I understand you have some turkeys as well.
Yeah.
And guineas.
Yep.
So you're raising the turkeys. They're not wild turkeys. You're raising turkeys out there.
Yep. A lot of them have names. The kids are naming. A lot of the roosters have names. It's pretty interesting at the farm. We got a Great Pyrenees to guard them.
Oh yeah, those are great dogs, man.
They're super smart.
Yeah, and they're as big as they are. They're really sweet dogs.
Yeah, they think they're lap dogs. They really do. They're huge, and they think they're little lap dogs.
Yeah, man, that is awesome. So what's next at the farm?
You know what? The family wants goats, and I got to put in fencing. Yeah. So fencing, and I'm trying to do everything myself, right? So I get that feel, but a farm is not necessarily something you can do for yourself.
Yeah, there's certain, not with 50 acres, that gets a little tougher. But yeah, it's kind of like this business. You can't do it all on your own. You got to bring in more people. And that's why we're so excited about bringing in great partners like yourself, is the opportunity for us to come together. And rising tide will raise all boats, and we think that the opportunity to serve even more people. What are you most excited about being a partner here at Integrity now?
One of the things that I always say is the only reason I'm here is because I got good at finding people better than me.
Yeah.
And so when I look at this relationship, I think of, I'll let you guys focus on the things you're good at, so I can just focus on the things I'm good at, because there's a whole bunch of things that I'm not good at.
Yeah.
And so if I don't have to worry about those things, tech is one of them. I'm glad all the tech around us is working right now, but it doesn't work for me. And so if it works for you, that will just allow me to focus on things that I want and that I'm good at. And that's finding people better than myself to enjoy the freedom this business has to offer.
Yeah, and look, that's a big part of what we're doing here at Integrity is being able to create these opportunities, especially around shared services, that we can come in, take some of that burden off of our partners so that you can go out and serve more people. And ultimately it's about making the process more efficient, making it more simple, making it more human, but making it to where if we all use our God-given talents, you've got great God-given talents that are about recruiting and training and supporting people in the process. There's other people who have great God-given talents around technology and creating the software and creating the systems. There's other people on the HR team and et cetera. There's people on the contract licensing side that get excited about all those different functions there. If everybody can use kind of what they're really blessed with and what they're good at, man, there's no limit to what we can accomplish here. And so we're super excited to have you as part of as part of the Integrity family. I can't wait to hear more about your farm and where you kind of continue to grow it from there. But man, I'm excited about how we can help more people. And ultimately that's what it's all about, is how do we ultimately help more people get the life, health, and wealth protection that they need. And then also, this is also a great reminder of also giving more people this opportunity, just like you were, Joe.
Absolutely.
When somebody sold you a policy that you needed and then said, man, I think you'd be good at this, right?
Yeah.
And man, think about all the different people we come in contact with, that if we could even encourage them to think about this opportunity. There's so many people that need not only our products and services, but also this opportunity. So that was an inspirational moment for me today. So thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Excited to be your partner and can't wait to see what we create together. Ladies and gentlemen, man, I hope that you see this opportunity. I can't wait to see where we go from here. And I am passionate about what Joe was just talking about, not only serving others, but also this opportunity, about telling others about this opportunity, about how you can really enter into this business. It's a noble business. It's a virtuous business that everybody wins in. And together we can accomplish more than ever before. So hope everybody has a great week. God bless you all and take care.